My guest today is Casey Armstrong, who is a former cast member of The Howard Stern Show. Casey has done a 180-degree turn with his life and is now the proud owner of WMAP Radio, a station dedicated to inspiring and celebrating the triumph of human spirit over adversity. He interviews people who have faced incredible hardships only to become a greater version of themselves. Today, he's going to share his own story with us. Welcome to my show, Casey.
Hey, thank you so much. It's an honor for me to be here. This is a huge show, and you've done incredible things, and I'm so excited to be here. So thank you for inviting me.
You are very welcome. No, I'm truly honored as well. I mean, I was looking at your backstory, all the things you've done. I was like, oh my gosh, I'd heard about you with the Howard Stern Show, but I kept reading more and more. I was like, wow, he has done a lot. So congratulations. What I really love about your brand as well with the WMAP is just we have such synergy. In other words, I look at how to help people just look at their life and create inspirational content to help people say, well, if this worked for someone, let me try it. And so you do the same thing. So I know it's going to be a fantastic interview today. So
yeah, but I don't have the background that you have. I mean, with you being a psychiatrist,
yeah.
I mean, that adds a whole nother thing to it.
Sure.
You know, that adds a very interesting take on things. So I'm kind of afraid to talk to you, actually.
Well, I promise I'll give you an invoice after the show's over. How about that?
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
So how did you even get in the business, in the show business industry or the radio industry?
So when I was in college, I had my own radio show. It was a talk show. I used to watch Howard's show on the E channel.
Yeah.
Because in Kentucky, he went to school in Western Kentucky. He wasn't on the radio down there. So my brother would send me radio tapes because he was up in Cortland, New York. And I kept watching that, and I learned so much from it.
Yeah.
I saw how Fred would pass him the tapes and how sound effects would be played and stuff. So I learned more watching that show than I did in some of my classes.
Oh, really?
You know, studying radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started writing, and I got an internship for the summer because I'd go home to New York for the summer until I had to go back and play the next season because I played football down there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that once I was there interning, I started writing some stuff, and they were using some of it on the air. So Howard actually invited me to some of the writing meetings, and I mean, that was crazy.
I bet.
Sitting next to
starstruck, yeah.
Jackie, yeah. Jackie Martling was there, and I'm sitting next to Howard's there. I couldn't believe it. So it was real experience. So when I left to play my last season, my 5th year, I rented a computer, and back then this was 1997. So back then, I mean, computers were just kind of emails were just kind of happening.
I remember, yeah.
And
right? We're roughly the same age, yeah.
So, okay, all right. Well, you just look a lot healthier than I do, but it's another story. So I rented a computer, and I wrote every single day. Like I was in my classes, I'd be writing,
nice.
Bits and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So every day, like clockwork, when I got home from practice, I would write a bit or something like that, and they are still using my stuff in the writing meetings. So
wow, so even though you weren't there, they still use it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things where if you're dedicated, and they see that a potential employer will see that, those are the type of people that you want around.
Yes.
Wow. So so when the season was over, he called me up to do an interview to take a position. And I interviewed with him, and he said, we haven't hired anybody in like 7 or 8 years, but you certainly proved your point.
Mm-hmm.
So how fast can you get up here?
Wow.
And I got to tell you, that last season, when you play football and you're on a scholarship, that last semester, the spring semester, you play golf. You don't do anything. You hang out with your friends. You chase girls around. Yeah. So I was going to miss that, but look, this is a job I always wanted. So I'm like, Howard, I just got to get someone to live where I am because I don't want to stick my roommates with an extra bill. So I found somebody, and I was up in 2 weeks, and then that's how I got in there.
That's crazy. How is it for working with Howard Stern? I mean, he's such an amazing person, brilliant man. How is it? How is it working with him?
Brilliant is the word. You hit it right on the head. I've never seen somebody. Of course, I don't know what's going on in his head, but during those meetings, I was going to look at him. Like he would make the decision on all these things, like if he wanted to do it or not. And we pitch him idea or something like that, and you just see him thinking, and he was able to right there make a decision, not like, oh, maybe we should, maybe not, maybe. He'd say, okay, we're going to do it. We'll do it this way. This is a good, this is a good idea. Mm-hmm. And to have that, that ability to make a decision and to know what's good for your show, with no second thought, don't second guess yourself. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah. And what I love about Howard is not only is he brilliant, but his ability to be provocative in a way that from a rating standpoint, people either love him or they hate him, and they hate him because they want to hear what he has to say. And then his ratings went through the roof. I mean, from so many levels, like I said, from a brilliant marketing standpoint as well. I would actually like to meet him one day. I think he's just a phenomenal person.
Yeah. He really is a sweet guy, a nice guy, and really just really, as you said, brilliant.
For you worked there for a period of time, and then you left the show. What happened for you during that time when you made your 180-degree turn?
I didn't leave. I was fired around 2005 or something. I had a big bout with depression. I still struggle with it. I was using drugs and alcohol. And showing up later and later, and not caring really, and it got really, really bad. So I wasn't dependable, and I let some people down, and I still feel really bad about that. But it was time. They gave me a chance. They sent me to rehab. This HR came in, and the Tom Chiusano, who was the GM, sent me to rehab, and I went to rehab for a while, and was doing the right thing, and then I thought, in my infinite wisdom, that it was okay for me to go out and do stand-up again, sober, which never really did that before. Yeah. You know, you always had to have a couple of drinks. So
I'm already nervous thinking about that for you. I'm like, oh my gosh, stand-up alone is hard, but yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, how did that go?
Okay, so I'm sure you know where this is going. I just remembered that last meeting telling the group. I never really speak into groups or whatever, but I said, look, I'm going to go do stand-up this weekend. I haven't done it for 6 or 7 months. I'm going to go do it for the first time sober. And, so I went to Boston, and the shows, I did great on the shows. But turns out when I was supposed to be back for Monday for all the tests and for the meetings, I didn't get back till Thursday because I was in a hotel with someone else. We were just staying there, not doing the right thing.
Sure.
And it was just as a younger person, that was what got me. That was the final straw. They said, "Well, look, we gave you a chance. We can't do this anymore."
Yeah, and even as you reflect on that part of your life, do you see the difference between who you are today versus who you were then?
Totally. Yeah, I do. Back then, I had no faith. I blamed God for a lot of things, and the depression will make you throw yourself away. I mean, it really, as you know, I'm sure that you know a lot about this, but it's tough when you don't care about things, you don't care about the outcomes, and you don't really think about them. So responsibility kind of goes out the window. Yeah. And when you know what's going to happen, you know to get fired. Now what happens? What do you do now? You know, you don't really plan for that. So I see now in my old age that I want to be around people that are always positive, that bring out the best in each other. You know, there are some people that, you know what I mean? Like there's people like your group, but well, you become your group. Yeah.
You become the people that, so in psychology, we have what's called the law of the group. So in other words, it's really the average. So if someone is really, really motivational and someone isn't as motivational, you'll find that the average turns to this. So the one who's not as motivational will become more motivational. The person who is motivational will all of a sudden become less motivational. So that's why, just like in sports, you always want to play up. One of my favorite quotes is, "You can't hang out with chickens and expect to soar with eagles." And to me, I love that quote. Great.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I love that.
Yeah, because the more you want to grow and develop, you can't be at the top of your game in your friend group, as amazing as they are. But in order to get to the next level, you have to level up. So just like what you're saying there as well, you want to surround yourself with healthier people. Yeah.
It's a great point, and that's a great observation, and it's so true. It reminds me kind of the only way I got better in football was I used in a weight room, as I would work out with the linemen.
Yeah,
exactly. And they were 10 times stronger than me, And like you said, me and them would bring up to have just by working out with people that are stronger. So that's a great. I got to remember that. That's a great observation to make.
Well, it was, as your journey continued, how did you then purchase this amazing station, WMAP?
Actually, we built it from nothing. It started in a place I used to live in called East Moriches, and it was a house. It was a house that I was renting, and in the back there was a very small room that was all glass, and it was facing the water, so it was cool.
Oh, wow.
And it was great so the microphone was pointed out, and you'd watch the boats, and it was really cool. But it wasn't a radio studio, and we probably had two listeners. There's probably maybe my mom would listen every once in a while, and maybe a staff member or something.
It's like how my show started.
Right, but it's turned into what it is,
Yeah.
So from there, we were there for about like a year, kind of just seeing how the things worked and everything. And finally, we were getting a little more press, some more listeners, and making a little more money with advertisers. So I was able to move into the next place, which was 2 rooms in the back of a friend's medical billing supply company.
Oh,
still not there yet,
yeah.
but it was a step up.
Yeah.
So we worked hard there, and finally had saved up enough to buy this abandoned tanning salon that was close by, and we did all the work. Well, I did all the work with a couple of construction people. Turned it into actually a real radio station, big antenna in the back, and now.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Fast forward, it gets there's a big antenna that picks up the transponder out in Manorville, which puts us on FM station by just pressing a button.
That's
We've
crazy.
got offices back there. And yeah, so it's pretty cool. I mean, to go from nothing to something, which is cool.
Yeah. So is simulcast? Is that what you're saying? You simulcast it from AM FM?
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's really cool. That is neat.
But it's a show. Yeah. It's a show every Monday through Friday, and then the rest is 24/7 on MAP, which is internet, which is heard in 105 countries. But the FM is just on Long Island, and we used to have Florida, but we're going to add a couple other FMs, which is weird. I want to get your thoughts on that. Where do you think FM's going?
That's a great question. It's interesting. I've had, when I started as on podcasts, and then when I switched over I'm on FM and AM stations, and then obviously then you have the digital as well. So there's so many different people who say podcasts are the new wave. That's what's happened for a while. But I mean, you still can't. When I look at my numbers, it's the majority of them are still FM players, and so there's a lot of individuals who still listen to it. So I think it's still a really viable market. You also have, like I said, the digital platforms, but FM and AM, they're still. I think they're here to stay, regardless of what the trends say. But I agree with you. I think you have a great opportunity to continue to get more traffic and to really inspire people as well.
Well, thanks. I agree with you, man. I don't think that when you get in a car, I know most younger people are taking the aux and they're putting in the aux and they're listening to podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think you ever replace, just that dial. I think it will always be there, like you said.
I agree.
Maybe not in the same way it is, but I think it will always be there.
Well, the whole thing, just like you look at anything as well, it'll morph and evolve to something different. So when it was years ago versus today, I mean, it's still around, but it still has evolved in some way. So regardless of what the trends say, I agree with you that FM still will be part of our future as well. How did you go?
Sorry.
When you bought your station, and then how did you know that you wanted to have inspirational content?
Because that's how it started. It was I had just gotten tired of living making mistakes, and and that's what we're going back to, surrounding yourself with the right people. I talk to people that inspire me every day, so I'm not hanging out at the bar every day. There's some great stories. Some people inspire me in the bar, but for the most part, the people that I'm interviewing, 6 or 7 of them of a day, I'm hearing 6 or 7 people that were supposed to die or were supposed to lose their job, their family, whatever, but somehow did something good for someone else or for themselves, and now they're living a completely different life. And you hear enough of that stuff, like you were saying before.
Yeah, you certainly do. Yeah, and I know for me, because I think I'm at as of today, I think I have 260 shows as of the time of this recording, and I'm sure in the future when it syndicates, you'll hear I'll have a lot more. But for me, I have heard so many amazing stories just like you. And every time I talk to someone, it encourages me, it inspires me. And then, I hear what worked for them. I'm like, oh, let me try that. And then I hear what didn't work. I'm like, okay, well, let's make sure I don't try that. But it really is something because it gives us so much information, so many tools to say, yes, regardless of how difficult my life is and what I'm experiencing, there is a way out. It may be painful, but there is a way out. And once we figure that out, that's how our life can literally launch and develop in an exponential way.
Totally. And I remember what one of my guests said. He said, if you sat with or stood with 7 or 8 people in a circle and you all threw your problems into the middle, if you heard everyone else's problem, you would pretty much most likely go and pick up yours.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. It really is true. You have written
we don't have it that bad.
Yeah, exactly. You've written a couple really amazing books. Well, they're actually called that. The first one is Simply Amazing, the Special Authors Edition, and Simply Amazing Women. Tell us about this.
Oh, cool. Thank you. So the first one was Simply Amazing, the Special Authors Edition. Mm-hmm. And what I did was I took 10 people who just wowed me on the radio. And it was kind of almost how the radio thing started and what I learned from each person. So I'm kind of like the guy taking the journey with these people and learning from them. It's just one person. Everybody's going to take their own thing from each one of their stories. But I was, I was kind of your everyday Joe listening to this and doing the interviews and how I reflected on it. And then I had an intro, which was telling everybody why I started it and what I was just telling you. And then I had some health problems and stuff like that. And this was going to be something that I wanted to leave behind. That was
a legacy.
Or yes, you wanted to do something good in this life, something you'd be proud of. And so that's how that first one happened, and it did real well. It got to number 9 on the Barnes & Noble Top 100 bestseller list, which was cool.
That's really cool.
And I got a 710 on my SAT, so that wasn't probably supposed to happen. But then the next one is I focused on the stories of these incredible women. So there's 13 women in the next one, and I always said women are tougher than men, and this proves it. Yeah, this proves it. There's one story I could tell you is that I have a friend who does tattoos, and he said never once in my career has a woman said, no, it hurts, stop it. But I get guys all the time saying, stop, it hurts.
I can see that being true, yeah.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So Casey, what's next for you?
Okay, so we I think we're going to put out the next book will be on first responders.
Oh, wow.
Because of so many things that have happened, and these people are just incredible, from 9/11 to the COVID to every emergency. Just people are so brave.
Yes.
The medical people. I mean, they walk into burning buildings, and their stories need to be told.
Yes. Wow, that's an amazing platform. I'm really glad that you're there to share that with everyone.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, our time is up. I can't believe it. We literally just flew through all this. If my listeners want to find out more information about you, to purchase your books, to listen to your radio station, I know you said it's on internet as well as FMAM. Where will they find all that information online? Okay,
great. My radio show is on 24/7. So if you go to WMAPradio.com, you can hear the show all day and all night. And if you want to pick up the books, you can go to BarnesandNoble.com or Amazon.com, or it might be in your local store. But we don't want to send people out. It's best. I think it's best always to just order it at home. It's there, it comes, and it's easy.
I know,
so
right?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Casey Armstrong, Simply Amazing. There you go.
Awesome. So what I would also do, if they're not able to find the information any other place, simply go to the show notes in this particular episode at either James Miller at Lifeology.com or Lifeology.tv, and it will link them to all your social media, to your website, and to Barnes & Noble as well. So Casey, thank you so much for being an awesome guest on my show today. I really appreciate it.
James, I see why you're so popular, man. You do a great interview, and thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.